Good afternoon, internet, and welcome to my latest video. It's been a while. A lot of things have happened, so in the time between my last video and now, I've gotten married, we adopted a dog, I'm 20 weeks pregnant currently, and, not much to do around here since you're stuck in your house these days. So I'm going to be participating in the Reading Rush this year, which I've never done before. I've actually haven't participated in any readathon, but I've been following Ariel Bissett for a long time, and I used to follow Raylene back when she did YouTube videos, so I'm really excited. I love their podcast, and I think I might actually have time to participate this year, so I went ahead and ordered the journal, and it came in a couple days ago. I've started filling it out, and so I'm just going to tell you my TBR. I don't know if these are books that I will actually complete. I've been in a really big reading slump for the last, at least a year, probably longer. I used to be a crazy avid reader when I was in college and right out of college. And in the last couple years, I've just kind of fallen off the wagon. At first, I was just changing what I was reading and reading different things. I got really into comics and graphic novels. And then I was listening to a lot of audiobooks when I was working, like grading papers or driving somewhere or just cleaning and working in the house. But I am just in such a slump, and I'm hoping that the Reading Rush will help me get out of that slump. So this is my TBR list. So our first challenge is, and if you're wondering what I'm looking at, I'm just looking at the journal that has all the challenges in it. But you can also just watch the video to find out what they are. You don't have to buy this if you don't want to. But the first challenge is read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. So I was born in April. My birthstone is a diamond. I know you could go a lot of ways with this. Some people are probably going to pick like holographic books or like shiny books or something like that. I went with something really simple, so I went with a white book. I've been meaning to read this book for probably a decade. I bought it when I was in college. I talked about reading it while I was in college. In fact, that post on Facebook just came up in my memories of me talking about reading this book, and I haven't read it. So this is the first challenge, is for me to read Animal Farm. I've read, I haven't read any George Orwell. I was going to say I've read 1984, but I really haven't. I've read the Cliff Notes of 1984, and that's about it. So I'm really interested in this and hope I like it. Ariel talks about it very highly. I know it's her favorite book, so hopefully it doesn't let me down. The second challenge, read a book that starts with the word the. So for this, I've been collecting some vintage books lately. My husband is like really into antiques, and so we go to a lot of antique shops, and I've picked up a few vintage books. So I have a really old copy of the Bobbsey twins of Lakeport. I've never read these books before, but I remember my aunt talking about them and probably reading them when she was a kid. So I'm going to try it out. I've read Nancy Drew. I've read Brains Benton and a couple other books from this era, but I've never read this series, so I'm going to start with the first book in the series. It's the number one, so we'll see. My copy is not that pretty, but yep. All right, challenge number 3. Read a book that inspired a movie you've already seen. So I don't really like reading books if I've already seen the movie. I feel like a book is such a large investment. It takes you longer to read than to watch a movie. And if you already know all the plot, it's not going to be as enjoyable. So I feel like there's very little buy-in at that point. However, my favorite, probably my second favorite movie of all time is Practical Magic. And I can't tell you how many times I've watched this in the last 2 decades. I think this came out in 1998. And so I have a DVD, so obviously that's not from 1998, but I've been watching this over and over and over again for years. And so I went ahead and got an audiobook of Practical Magic by Hoffman. And I thought if I got an audiobook, then it probably would be easier for me to follow along knowing the plot already. Now, maybe the book is vastly or wildly different than the movie, but just in case it's not, I don't want to feel stagnant in a book, especially when we only have like 7 days to read all of this. So I went with the audiobook. So that I'll be listening to on my phone while I'm cooking and cleaning, or if I get to drive anywhere, you know, stuff like that. So, let's see. Number 4. What is the challenge for that one? Read the first book you touch. All right, so for this one, I picked another audiobook. I scrolled through all the audiobooks I had on my phone and then just like picked one with my fingers. And this is the only one that I don't have anything to show you of because I don't have a physical copy of it. But what I picked was You Can't Touch My Hair and Other Things I Still Have to Explain by Phoebe Robinson. So I have had that audiobook for like probably 6 months or more. I went through this phase last year where I was just listening to all these memoirs and biographies that were read by the author, and I had like a whole bunch of them that I had been listening to. It all started with Tina Fey's book, Bossy Pants, and then I just kept going after that. And so at some point, I kind of fell off the wagon and stopped listening to them. So I've had her book for a while, and I want to read it. Or in this case, listen to it, because I think memoirs are just so much more interesting. If it's a memoir or a biography or just a nonfiction book, if it's read to you, I feel like I retain the information more. And then if it's read by the author, it just feels, I don't know, like more authentic or something, like they're telling you a story. So that's what I'm going to do for number 4. Okay, number 5. What's the challenge here? It's read a book completely outside of your house. Okay, so this is going to be tough. I live in a very hot location. Yesterday, it was like 116 degrees here, or for those of you who use Celsius, it would have been like, what, like 46 degrees or something like that, but like 116 Fahrenheit. It was way too hot to go outside and read a book, and I can't really go anywhere. Our libraries are closed. I don't want to go into anyone's house. I mean, parks would be the same. They would still be as hot as my backyard. So if weather permits it, maybe I will read this book on my patio. If not, I will have to figure out something else. I'm not really sure. I know they said you could cheat this one, like read it while looking out a window or something like that, so I might do that. I don't know, I might carry it around with me, so if I do run errands with my husband and he drives, then I could read it. But I'm going to read SuperMutant Magic Academy. All right, so this is a graphic novel. And from what I understand, it's not one cohesive story. It's like a bunch of snippets and different short stories that take place at this school. So it's kind of like a boarding school for magical super mutants. Obviously, I haven't read it. Another one that was highly recommended by Ariel. I haven't seen anyone else really talk about this, but I love indie comics and I love indie graphic novels, and I think I actually bought this before I saw it on her channel, but once I heard her talk about it, I was like, I need to just read that. It's been sitting on my shelf too long. So there we go. All right. Number 6, I believe. Read a book in a genre you've always wanted to read more of. So if I wanted to double up on something, obviously, Animal Farm would work for this, because I have classics. I have a handful of them up on the top shelf, but I haven't read nearly as many as I should, or feel like I should. I guess that's an opinion. So yeah, I could double up on this, and that would count for this one as well. But if I have enough time, I want to read something else, which is Doom Rolled in Glitter by, this is by Leena Norms, and she also has a YouTube account if you want to go check her out. I love her. She's really funny and very well spoken. And so you can see that this is like a zine with poetry in it, and there's artwork in it as well. I'm a comic nerd, so when I saw what it was made out of, the first thing I did when I got my copy was I put it in a bag and board to keep it nice, and I keep it with my single comics. So I've never read poetry just for fun. I've read it in college, I read it in high school, but just to like leisurely sit down and read poetry, I can't say I can't say the last time I did that. I don't think I ever have. And if I have, I don't remember. I don't recall it. Maybe when I was an angsty teenager, but so I want to read that. And I have other poetry books on my to read list on like Goodreads, but I need to start somewhere and I wanted to start there. So my last challenge. So number 7, read a book that takes place in a different continent than where you live. Now, obviously I live in North America, so I should pick something probably more diverse or more different than what it's like living in North America. And I acknowledge that I should. However, I really don't want to buy any new books right now. Sorry, my dog is trying to sneak over here. So I want to pick something I already have and haven't read. I have a ton of single comics of Giant Days, and they take place in the UK, so this totally counts for this challenge. But it's not like the UK. I know it's different than North America. I know it's different than the US where I live, but it's not like drastically different. I'm not like learning a ton about their culture by reading these, so I think this is pretty weak sauce, but I have so many singles that I need to read that I'm going to pick this. Now, I have the first 2 volumes in trade paperback, and I bought these basically because I loved the book so much that I wanted to be able to reread the early stories over and over again and not have the fear of damaging my single comic. So I have all of these in singles, but then I have the 2 volumes as well. And then what I recently saw is that I know not everybody's supporting Amazon right now, so I completely understand if you wouldn't do this yourself. But I have the Kindle Unlimited, and on the Kindle Unlimited, they have a lot of indie comics from Boom Studios. So they have like Lumberjanes and they have Giant Days. And I know at least the first volume, maybe the first few volumes, are free if you have Kindle Unlimited, which Kindle Unlimited is not free. So you're paying for that service, but then you get access to these without having to pay for them again. So I might read them digitally, or I might read these copies. And then obviously once I run out of like a digital copy that's free to read, I'm going to jump into my singles and just try to be really careful with those because I have all of them. I have all of them from issue 1 up until the issue they are at right now, which I don't even know what number it is because I've been buying them and not reading them. I just buy them and then I put them in with my single comics, and I'm so far behind it's like really sad. And I love this story. If you had to ask me what's your favorite comic of all time, it would be Giant Days. I love these stories. So yeah, I need to catch up. I feel like a fake fan. So that is my TBR. So if you are interested in the Reading Rush, obviously go check out their website, and then they also have a YouTube channel and an Instagram. You can also check out Ariel Bassett's YouTube channel and Instagram, and Raylene's Instagram, and then they have the podcast Books on Bound. If you want to buy this journal, you can find it at the Don't Forget to Be Awesome. What is it? DFTBA website. They're the ones that's distributing this. There's other merch too if you want it. And I think it starts on, well, this should actually tell me when it starts. I think it starts on the 20th. Let's see if I'm right. Is there a date in here somewhere? Maybe not. It says 2020 on the cover, but I think it starts on the 20th and goes to the 26th. Obviously, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And is that about it? Yeah, so this was the first video challenge. So if you want to participate in all the challenges, I have them right here in the book. They made a video about these challenges over here so you can plan what books you're going to read. There's also Instagram challenges or photo challenges right here, and then 3 video challenges. So this is the first video challenge, which is your TBR pile. Make a video sharing the books you plan to read during the Reading Rush. Check. All right, hopefully my rambling made some sort of sense. I haven't made a video in a really long time, so thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. I'm gonna try to make more Reading Rush videos. We'll see. I've never vlogged before, but we'll see. Maybe I'll make one.